Envoy there, live for us from Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation. Will keep an eye on what happens as the votes are still being counted. Thank you. Well, that's what's happening in West Africa, but I want to show you what's happening in the East now, to the Horn of Africa, in fact, just next to the Gulf of Aden. You see it highlighted here on this map, a tiny country that doesn't officially exist, Somaliland. They're a part of Somalia, the northern part of what many people believe to be a failed state. But Somalia, for its part, says we're not a failed state. They have a flag and a functioning government. It even has its own banking system and its own currency. But what it doesn't have is recognition on the international stage. The small state unilaterally broke away from the rest of Somalia in 1991, and since then, Somaliland has actually prospered. Last year, it held a presidential election, which was praised by international observers. But it's not trouble-free. Maritime piracy has become a threat to the economy there and the people. But as Jane Ferguson reports for you now in this exclusive report, they are fighting back.
There is a threat in these waters, one that has survived the centuries. Just a few hundred kilometers down this coast from Somaliland, a tiny breakaway state in northern Somalia, lie notorious pirate bases. The challenge for the small Coast Guard unit charged with hunting the pirates is that today it is much harder to tell friend from foe.
A boat coming from east. Nobody knows whether it is a virus or local fishing. Therefore, we attack it, and we find that the boat was fishing from Somaliland fishing boat. So always we go patrolling all this area, and when the radar tells us, we attack.
The Coast Guard challenge any potential threat, doing their best to search for the telltale signs of weapons stowed in small fishing boats. But they are outnumbered and outgunned. Nonetheless, they have caught dozens of pirates in the past year, they say. Their most effective weapon? Information fed to them by locals. Fishermen can spot a pirate better than anyone.
Cost is very long, and we cannot cover all, but we try our best. We depend about our fishing, civilian fishing boats. They tell us where they saw anything they suspect. So we go.
They tell you where the pirates are?
Yeah, the pirates, they tell us.
The Coast Guard has captured more than 100 pirates in this channel, he tells me. Good news for the locals, who say this historic port is a lifeline, providing jobs and importing much-needed food supplies. It's unlikely there would be any real survival of Berbera if ships didn't come here.
That the Somaliland people, if they are a fishermen, if they are a rural area people, if they are a businessmen, they have a general concept to fight the piracy. So that's why the fishermen, if they have seen a piracy, they always call the Coast Guard and always they size them. So we have seen all that the people can see it a very, very big problem.
It's well known that the shipping industry around the world is paying out hundreds of millions of dollars to pirates. However, here, in this self-declared state of Somaliland, the small Coast Guard is doing what it can to protect its own shores. It says, however, that without more resources, it won't be able to do this on a bigger scale. Here in Berbera Port, they have only 3 small boats. One of them doesn't even work. But instead of investing in local resources to stop piracy, many of the global shipping businesses that travel these waters have turned instead to private security companies. That, says Somaliland's Minister of Justice, won't stop the problem.
The international community is definitely paying a lot of money to fight against piracy. But I think they are missing the point. And that is, they've got to support the establishment of democratic societies. Good governance, where the rule of law should be leading, should be working. The money these companies are paying should go to the international, to the coastal guards. They should be given radars, they should be given communication. And we need a communication center to be established here so that we can communicate to Yemen, to Djibouti, and we can have exchange of information and experiences.
As the world struggles to find an effective solution to the piracy plague, people here say the only effective solution lies among those who know the waters best. Jane Ferguson for CNN, Somaliland.
And we'll have more of Jane's reports from Somaliland tomorrow on Prison. Dozens of deaths and millions of dollars